Hey everyone, Jason Mackey here, live from the Toronto airport. Actually, I'm not live. We were recording. Ray Fittipaldo and I tried very hard to bring you this week's edition of the North Shore Drive podcast, and we did. The audio track was fine, but the Wi-Fi was not cooperating, and my video was freezing, and it just looks kind of funky. So that's why you're seeing this. Excuse our dust. We did our best. Sometimes Wi-Fi just doesn't want to cooperate, especially when it's in a different country. So enjoy this episode, and we will be back with plenty more content on this channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for doing it, as always. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the North Shore Drive podcast. I'm Jason Mackey alongside Ray Fittipaldo for this Tuesday edition of the show, which is presented to you by FanDuel. Ray and I are back from New England. I'm actually in Toronto en route to Ireland. Ray is back home in Pittsburgh. The Steelers, of course, they're coming off a 21-14 win over the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Ray and I were both there to cover it. Today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about whether the victory made us feel better or worse about the Steelers. I'm still not sure how I feel about it. We'll also talk about some role changes on both sides of the ball, a potential step forward for the offensive line, and a few more things. Before we dive in, though, there's a message from our friends with Pella Windows and Doors of Pittsburgh. There's no better place to get new windows and doors installed in your home than Pella, who can help you save on energy costs year-round. Schedule a free in-home consultation with your local Pella Windows and Doors to find the right product for your home and budget. Give them a call at 866-593-1560 to discuss your project further. That's 866-593-1560 to get started planning your new windows and doors installation with Pella Windows and Doors of Pittsburgh. Thank you very much, Pella. Thank you very much, FanDuel. Let's get into it, Ray. Do you feel better or worse after that game? I've been wrestling with that thought all day. Like, it's a win. You don't want to turn down a win, but it wasn't a pretty win, and I don't know if I feel any better about it.
No, how about just the same? I mean, listen, both their victories came in the final minutes. The Jets game was, pulled out at the very end. And, Rodgers did a great job in manufacturing this win. You do have to give them credit for finding ways to win. However, I will say it's not sustainable. Your defense giving up 386 yards per game. Like Mike Tomlin said last week, 2 is a pattern. Well, what is 3? 3 is now a trend. You can't run the football. Your passing offense the past 2 weeks against the Seahawks and the Patriots was abysmal. So when you add it all up, I mean, I don't feel great about this team, but there's something telling me, Jason, that they can't be this bad all season. Eventually, the talent's going to come together, especially on defense. I keep waiting for that. I don't know when it's going to happen, but to answer your question right now, I don't feel great, but I respect that they're 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cam Heyward said it, rather be 2-1 than 1-2. I know it's kind of cliche. Guys say that a lot, but I'm not as discouraged as I think some people are. I know my colleague Joe Starkey on the columnist side has a different take about it, and that's okay. I do think they found some things that were interesting. Defensively, I wrote today about Cam Heyward and TJ Watt, their highest paid players being their highest paid players. I thought we saw some things in that regard that we haven't seen yet. I thought the defense, had more of a pass rush, not enough. They stopped. I don't know. Did they stop the run? I don't even know. It feels like they did a little bit, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't what you would want to see. I mean, some progress. So, yeah, it's a weird mixed bag, man.
Yeah, I will say that they stopped the running backs better than they did the previous 2 weeks. But I thought Drake Maye kind of hurt them with his scrambling ability and his ability to make plays getting out of the pocket. Listen, they still gave up 119. I don't know what the average is now, but I do know in 12 of the last 22 games, they've given up 100 yards on the ground. And that is not the sign of a good defense. So, there's still one more game. There's this game in Dublin before they get to the bye. I think the bye is maybe where the coaches can sit down undisturbed for 2 or 3 days and just pour through everything, throw out what's not working, and maybe add some new stuff. Maybe, Jason, maybe that's the point where it gets turned around, but it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel just based on the way they played in the first 3 weeks. But again, they are 2-1. And there's a lot of teams in the NFL who would like to be able to say that.
Yep, no doubt. Well, let's talk about the running game a little bit, Ray. That dovetails into my second point about Jaylen Warren and Daniel Ekuale on the other side, but specifically about Warren. I do want to mention his over-under, according to our friends at FanDuel. It's at 57.5 yards against the Vikings at Croke Park. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'd probably take the under at this point. I hope I'm wrong, but you can check out more sportsbook.fanduel.com if you're interested. Ray, did it catch you by surprise at all that they really leaned into Jaylen Warren a lot? It seemed like at times he kind of supplanted Kenneth Gainwell as a true RB1. And do you think that's going to be like that going forward?
Yeah, I thought it was well-deserved and maybe overdue. I wrote about that on my report card after the Seahawks game. Jaylen Warren does all the work, that 65-yard catch and run, which was fantastic. And then they took him out, and they had somebody else run the plays down at the goal line. So, the workload was very much in his favor, I think. 18 carries to only 4 for Gainwell. Obviously none for Caleb Johnson, who did not play in the game. And I don't know about you. I don't mind seeing a heavy dose of Jaylen Warren. The guy is slippery. He makes plays as a receiver and as a running back. And I think we've seen more out of him as a receiver for whatever reason. I think it probably has most to do with the offensive line not being very good at run blocking right now. But I don't want to downplay the significance of Kenneth Gainwell either, because as Aaron Rodgers pointed out after the game, he had a big 10-yard catch and run late in that game that set up that final 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7 for Calvin Austin to get the go-ahead score. So, I'm good with that combination, and I'm certainly fine with Jaylen Warren getting the bulk of the carries and the touches.
Yeah, I was kind of upset that they went away from it, Ray. I thought they had established something, and they hit a little bit of a rough spot, toward the end of that first drive, and in the second drive a little bit, but in that whole mushy middle of a game where they didn't move the ball, they weren't really committed all that much to the run. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's easier to be committed to the run when you're productive, so that's probably the solution there. And I like their usage of Gainwell at this point. I thought Sunday was largely fine. I mean, I don't want him off the field. He's a good third down back. He helps your team, especially if Caleb Johnson is, basically turning into somebody that you need to bring along slowly, or that's what he's shown me. So, I mean, I'll give him a touch here and there, but I'm basically good with it. If it grew a little bit, I wouldn't complain, though. I agree with you. I like the slipperiness. I like the straight aheadness, and Jaylen Warren just seems like he's getting confidence the more carries he gets too.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line, and I think what we're both trying to get at, is the running game overall has to get going, and I don't know if that is entirely or even partially on the running backs at this point. I watched Jaylen Warren run in the open field after he catches a pass, and I think it'd be really good if you gave him the ball behind the line of scrimmage and he could pick his holes, but there's just not any creases or any holes for those guys to pick through right now. So, I will give the offensive line credit for keeping Aaron Rodgers clean in this game. I thought that was a big factor in this football team. The Patriots entered that game as the NFL's leading sack team, and they didn't have any. So that was good, but the running game, Jason, it's not there yet, and it doesn't seem like it's even close to being, a finished product right now. They got a long way to go there. So Brian Flores is a really good DC. The Vikings are coming off a really good game against the Bengals. It doesn't get any easier. And maybe 6 weeks down the road, we'll look back and say, boy, the Seahawks are a good team. And boy, the Patriots have a good defense.
I don't think we're going to be saying that, Ray.
Yeah, but you might be saying about the Seahawks, maybe not about the Patriots. But my point is, maybe they're playing some tougher teams, tougher than we expected early in the season, and maybe that's a reason for the struggles. But the main point is they got a long way to go in the running game, and I think it's mostly on the offensive line.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to talk about the offensive line in our second segment, but to just kind of put a bow on this topic, Ray, on the defensive side, we saw Keanu Benton play a little less, Ekuale play a little more. I can't say I'm surprised by it. Benton has just not gotten the job done, but I was impressed by Ekuale. Did you expect this? And is this something you see possibly continuing next week?
Yeah, watching the game, I noticed him quite a bit at nose tackle, and I'm thinking, boy, like he pretty much split the snaps with Benton. But then you look at the snap counts, I think he had 17 or 19, and then Benton was up in the 40s, but a lot of that was Benton playing out in sub packages and not being over the nose in passing situations. So maybe it was closer to a 50-50 split in base. I really like Equale. I think he does a good job in there. I think you look at the production, I think he had 3 tackles to Benton's 1. So I think that's probably indicative of the way he played and what they got out of him. I saw a few things that were better with Benton. I thought he was controlled in his rush lanes. Containing Drake Maye was really important. I know his containment of Maye on, I think it was the Harmon sack on the first drive of the game, really is the reason they got him on the ground there. So, Benton wasn't as bad as he has been. He actually took a step forward, I think. But, yeah, I would play Daniel Equale 20 snaps again in the next game. I think he was effective, and I definitely think he could help your run defense.
We'll see if they do that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to break down the offensive line, a defensive player who had a very interesting game, at least to me. But first, we're going to take a very short break and back with more on the North Shore Drive. See, very short, only about 7 seconds. We'll get into all of that in a bit. Have 2 ads to tell you about first. If you were diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer, call your local attorneys at Goldberg, Persky & White. For over 40 years, their firm has represented thousands of lung cancer and mesothelioma victims. Call 1-800-COMPLEX or visit GPW Law for a free consultation. Also, are you having trouble finding the right people to hire? Tired of sorting through endless resumes? Well, the future of hiring looks a lot brighter because of ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features help speed up the finding the right people process for your roles. So you can save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/audio. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in minutes. See a candidate you're really interested in? Unlock their contact info instantly. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ziprecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, that's ziprecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We always appreciate our sponsors. So, all right, Ray, was this a step forward for the offensive line? You kind of jumped the shark and got out in front, and I liked it. I'm saying it is. They kept Aaron Rodgers upright. They did not give up a sack. I know the running game is an issue. We'll get there, but I'm going to take the small victories. I thought Broderick Jones was a little bit better. Troy Fautanu was a little bit better. Again, most importantly, they didn't allow a sack against the team that led the NFL in sacks, that had a pretty good pass rush coming in. I thought it was an improvement. What say you?
Yeah, I thought the tackles held up really well. Milton Williams, the highest paid free agent this past offseason among the D linemen, kind of gave the interior of the line some fits, especially in the run game. But in terms of pass protection, I thought it was good. And, you look at the big plays down the field. There weren't many, but he had time on the Metcalf throw. And that's really important. When Aaron Rodgers looks out there, we saw it from the press box, single high safety. He wasn't shaded. And DK Metcalf has a one-on-one. You better be able to pass protect for Aaron Rodgers in that situation. And they did. And then 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 at the end of the game, had plenty of time to make a nice back shoulder throw to Calvin Austin. So good timing there too. I mean, it was good stuff to see that they at least took a step in that regard. And slowly but surely, and he still has issues, but slowly but surely, I think Broderick Jones is starting to come around as well.
Well, the Steelers can only hope. And I did find it interesting. Aaron Rodgers talked a little bit last week prior to the game, but I think he touched on this post game, but just about his mobility, him moving around in the pocket and how much that might be able to help things. It seems kind of weird for a 41-year-old to talk about that, but is that something, Ray, as an offensive lineman? I'm a former quarterback. We played at different levels. Like, how much can that be a factor if a quarterback kind of knows how to step up, avoid, step aside, whatever? Just, I'm not always talking tuck it and run, just, knows how to navigate that.
Yeah, just the savviness of knowing how to play the game and having done it for nearly 2 decades. I think that's that's really important, Jason. And I think that's something that can potentially help this offensive line. I mean, it's an offensive line that has been leaky at times, but when you look at the big picture and what Rodgers did yesterday, just taking a step here, taking a step there, just avoiding the rush or getting the ball out and throwing it away, I think is really important. And if he can do that on a consistent basis, and for his health, not take those hits, I think that would be good for the Steelers offense.
Did you see me disappear on your screen, Ray?
You disappeared for about 15 seconds. I filled as best as I could, but yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
All right. I came back. Well, we can leave that in there. That's okay.
Yeah,
it's a great disappearing act. This is Ireland week. We've got to be nimble and we've got to be flexible and all that stuff. So I disappeared while Ray was talking and came back. That happens all the time in broadcasting. All right, so let's get to Jalen Ramsey, Ray. I was looking at things this morning in the other airport I was in today, in Logan in Boston, and I was looking at Jalen Ramsey's stats, and they didn't target him. He wasn't credited with a target against. And I mean, I didn't notice Jalen Ramsey a lot yesterday, and I mean that in a good way. It seemed like, kind of chopped off the field, I think is how I wrote it in a column. But what's going on there? Is that something that, might happen again? Did you see anything different from Jalen Ramsey? Are they using him different? What about the emergence of Brandon Echols? Just how did you sort of see all that stuff?
Yeah, well, talked to Jalen after the game. He did a group interview, and he said he played all three spots again this week. I'd have to go back and watch it, Jason. I noticed him more at safety than I did corner in this game. And I think when you're playing safety, and we saw it last year with Minkah Fitzpatrick, teams can avoid that side of the field and be careful, and they can target other players. And I think that's what the Patriots did yesterday. Now, maybe that's a little bit surprising given that Jalen Ramsey wasn't exactly coming off his best game. But listen, it's a different situation. You're talking about a seasoned guy in Sam Darnold who knows how to operate against a guy like Drake Maye, who's really athletic, really good arm, but clearly he's still learning the game, right? Mike Vrabel talked about that yesterday. A lot of good to like in Drake Maye's game, but a lot of subtle things that and maybe winning in the margin type things that he didn't do.
Whoa. No more winning in the margins. We can't talk like that.
Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically where Vrabel came down on it. So, younger quarterback, I think that maybe they wanted to take away some potential danger by targeting a guy like Jalen Ramsey. But, I think it'll be different every week, and certainly it's going to be different when Deshaun Elliott and Joey Porter come back. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
Thinking about this today, when Elliott comes back, does Jabrill Peppers go back to the bench? I mean, he was really good, Jason.
Yep,
and
he was.
They took away playing time from Thornhill and Clark. Now, they still played. They were out there in some sub packages, but I don't know. They might have found something here in Jabrill Peppers. So I'm kind of interested to see how the secondary is all going to work out once they have their healthy guys back in the line.
I know what I'm rooting for, Ray. I'm rooting for Jalen Ramsey to play on the outside, and let's stop screwing around with this. I've liked Brandon Echols. Keep him in the slot. Great. When Joey Porter Jr. gets healthy, I don't know quite how that dynamic's going to work. It's going to be interesting. But I like Jalen Ramsey outside, and I'm not moving away from Jabrill Peppers, at least based on what we saw Sunday. I was impressed with it. I think the Steelers coaches were too, because he ended up playing more than Juan Thornhill. But it's going to be a fascinating thing to see who plays safety whenever Elliott does come back. Obviously, he's going to play. Yeah,
maybe it'll be week to week, like game planning type things that the coaches always like to talk about. The one thing they do have is they have versatility back there. They have different types of players with different skill sets that, listen, it might be really good one week, like Jabrill Peppers was really good against the Patriots, but maybe it's not a great matchup when they play another team. But, yeah, from what I saw, he's physical. And Terrell Austin said this on Thursday, Jason. He really communicates well. And when you have a defense that has had the miscommunications that this defense has had, I think that's important. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. So I'm with you. I think we're going to see Jabrill Peppers on the field even more here in the coming weeks if he continues to play at this level.
All right, Ray. Derek Harmon came back on Sunday, played really well. Our colleague Jerry Dulac wrote about that. You can read that at post-gazette.com, of course. I thought it was a big injury lift something. You know, it's exactly what you'd want from Harmon. Does Elliott come back this week? Does Joey Porter Jr. come back this week? Does Alex Highsmith come back this week? Or are they going to get another bump in Dublin?
Yeah, so you almost have to separate these injuries, the soft tissue ones from the knee ones, right? So I think as long as the knee is structurally sound and you cannot injure it further, it's probably a pain tolerance thing with Sean Elliott. So he's probably got a better shot to play than Joey Porter. And it's not that Joey Porter's hamstring might not be healed, but you got to bye. And then you have like an extra 2 weeks to make sure that he's healthy for the stretch run. So that's the way I look at it. We saw Harmon come off a similar injury, be really effective. So if I had to handicap it right now, I'd say Elliott has a better shot, but we'll see what happens. I do think with all these injuries, including Highsmith, the bye week is going to factor in. I think they're going to be careful in not bringing any of these guys back too soon because you don't want to injure them further and then have these injuries linger into the second half of the season.
Mike Tomlin will talk later today. We'll find out more officially on who could be back, who could have the what does he say, the light left on for participation, or leave the door open or something.
Leave the door open, leave the light on. Yeah.
Everything our kids do, Ray.
Yes.
All right, that does it for us. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more from our Post-Gazette North Shore Drive podcast and YouTube channels. I'm on to Ireland here in a couple of hours. Ray's going to be in Pittsburgh holding it down. Looking forward to it. Talk to you from Dublin, and we'll talk to you next week.
You didn't disappoint.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.